Hi everybody, it's Jenny. I am here to review Avengers Age of Ultron. I went to see it on Monday? What day is it today? Yeah, I went to see it on Monday. I enjoyed it, to say the least. There are going to be spoilers in this video, so if you don't want to know spoilers, click away. I don't want to ruin it for anybody. Click away. Click away. Okay, I'm going to tell you the basic outline, what it was about, good points, not so good points, and my overall thoughts on it. So let's get started. So the story is that the Avengers are fighting these bad guys. They're part of Hydra. It's all linking into like the latest Captain America film, Winter Soldier, and Hydra is basically evil Germans. Well, they're not all Germans. That's what you think of, right, when you think of Hydra. Anyway, they beat these bad guys up. There's an amazing shot at the beginning where it looks like they've all just suddenly jumped out of the comics, and it's just all of them in a line, and it's so beautiful, and it makes your heart like implode. So they beat these bad guys. Tony has been building this kind of iron army to help all around the world to save people that the Avengers can't get to, things like that. And he accidentally creates an artificial intelligence, which is Ultron. Now, I've read some of the comics with Ultron in, and basically he's pretty unstoppable. He's pretty unstoppable. There, I said it. And he's an intelligence that can travel through the internet, travel through electronic devices, so he can't be stopped just by like shooting him. So he's not like Loki, you can't just attack one guy and hope that it ends and you win. And we see one awesome scene when there's no physical characters on the screen, it's simply Jarvis and Ultron. And Ultron's kind of waking up and understanding that he's been created and that he's now in the world, and he starts attacking Jarvis, and Paul Bettany is the voice of Jarvis, and he's kind of like, excuse me, what are you doing? You seem to be looking through my data and things like that. And Ultron picks apart Jarvis and seemingly kills him, and he's just gone, and then it's like, shit. So Ultron goes into one of the Iron Man suits. Well, he's not an Iron Man suit. It's one of the iron suits that Tony's built. And he kind of hobbles out like, oh, hey! And tells them that he wants to make the human race extinct, that they're kind of obsolete now and computers rule. It's all very Skynet. So that's the basic premise. Ultron wants to destroy the human race. He's bad. He creates an army of himself that do his bidding and things so we can be at loads of places at once. There's also two other antagonists. There is Scarlet Witch, Wanda, and Quicksilver, Pietro. They're both Maximoffs. Now in the comics, these two are mutants. They're the children of Eric, aka Magneto. So yeah, I'll get onto that later, but these two are also bad guys, except once they realise what Ultron's doing, they realise, yeah, we're kind of part of the human race as well, and we don't want to die, so they end up helping the Avengers. And they're like, yay, let's save the world, yay. Alright, I want to tell you the good points and the bad points. There are more good than bad, because it was amazing and I absolutely loved it. So there was no need for introductions for everybody because they've all been established in their own films and in the first Avengers. So that was really good. I felt like there was a sense of friendship and even a little bit of romance between Natasha and Bruce. I'll also get onto that a little bit later. So I liked the feeling of the family. Maria Hill was there as well. They're all joining in. There was a really good scene where they were all trying to pick up Thor's hammer. I'm sure you've seen the previews and things. And they each give it a go and they're really useless, and Tony and Rhodey really go for it with the iron hands and things and try and do it. but they all fail. But when Captain America gives it a go, it kind of slightly moves, and Thor's face is just a picture. He's like, and it's like, oh my goodness, he's almost worthy, which is amazing for a human. That's how loyal and like amazing Captain America is. There's also an amazing scene that's also been in all the trailers where Hulk versus Iron Man in the Hulk Buster suit that Iron Man actually calls down from space. It just, it comes down from space and builds on top of him, and there's like extra bits because he knew that the Hulk was going to rip parts off him. And they fight through this whole city, they destroy buildings, almost kill a bunch of people. They probably actually do kill a bunch of people, but like we never hear of that. They're fighting. Tony has some great one-liners during this fight, like he's constantly punching Hulk and he's saying, "Go to sleep! Go to sleep!" That was one of my favourite bits. It was definitely one of the funniest. It made me laugh so much. But it also set the premise for Hulk being really sad afterwards, like Bruce realising what he'd done and that he'd let the Hulk free and almost killed everybody. And that was all due to Scarlet Witch, aka Wanda's mental manipulation. Her powers are telekinesis, and she can also like go inside your mind and make your worst fears come true. So that was setting that up as well. And that was really great. Just the fight, it all looked really real. I never for once thought, oh, they're not actually there, that's all CGI. There's a scene where Black Widow, Hawkeye, and a whole bunch of others, Captain America obviously, chasing down this cradle which contains Ultron's version of like a perfect being. He's tried to create this thing, so descriptive. He's trying to create this artificial intelligence that is based on him, and he's used one of the Infinity Stones, which we saw in Guardians of the Galaxy, we saw in Thor the Dark World, to kind of give this thing life. And it's like, oh! And they're chasing it down because it's still in like a hypersleep, so all the Avengers are chasing after it, and such a good scene. They're like flipping about on lorries and things, and the lorry ends up flying away, which looked kind of naff, I must admit. But then when Hawkeye's chasing it in one of the, I want to say X-Jet, but it's not an X-Jet, in one of the like fly things, it's a jet of some description, and the cradle starts falling out and Black Widow like flops out. It's like, oh my goodness, so dramatic. But anyway, they end up getting this cradle, and inside the cradle is the beautiful Vision. Thor smacks his hammer really hard on the cradle, physics, and lightning comes out and Vision pops out like the Jack in the Box, and he's like, hello, with his sexy voice, and he's beautiful. That brings me on to the Vision, which was my favourite part of the entire film, even though he's hardly in it. He was created by Ultron, but he's like, no, I choose life. And that's fantastic, because we want him to be good. Yay! I don't know much about the Vision. I've read kind of his backstory in some of the comics, and it's slightly different to what happened in the film, to say the least. But in the film, he's so cute. He's naive, but he's also ready to fight, like straight away. He's like, let's go. And he can pick up Mjolnir, which is amazing. There's one point where he just hands it to Thor, like, there you go. And all the others are just like, oh, what? That was one of my favourite bits. It was so funny and just so quick that you weren't expecting it. And he can fight, he can phase through things, he can like manipulate his molecules and things and go through things, so he's like breaking all these Ultron bots apart, and it's so exciting. We get to see some of the Avengers' worst fears as Wanda manipulates them, so we see Tony sees a pile of dead Avengers, like, oh no, and there's a really cheesy bit where Cap grabs him and he's like, you could have saved us, and it's, oh, it made me cringe a bit, but that was his worst fear. And you get to see Thor's and Cap's. There are also some nods to the comics. For example, there's a part where Vision kind of almost cradles Wanda and then flies off with her. Now in the comics they get married and everything, and I think then they get divorced, and it's all very bad. But that was really cool. I just thought that tiny little nod to the comics was just perfect. Like, we didn't want a full-on romance, which unfortunately brings me to some of the bad points. Bruce and Natasha thing I didn't have a problem with, that was fine. I know sometimes people desire this kind of thing in film, and that's fine. Bruce and Natasha together as a thing is cute. I liked it, in fact. That's okay. But I just didn't understand why we needed so much of it. Why it was really that necessary. At one point Bruce even comes in with a big gun and saves Natasha. And I'm thinking, she could have got out of that little cage easily. She could have just flippy-flooped and got out somehow. Without the need of the big man and his gun. Yeah, that was unnecessary in my opinion. But their relationship did make it more meaningful when, at the end, Hulk flew off to like keep everyone safe. He went and distanced himself, like the Hulk always does in every film. So that made it more poignant when he did that. There was a scene where Thor went and got his scientist friend, who I can't remember the name of. He's in the Thor films. I'm not a huge fan of the Thor films, but I enjoy them. And he went and got him to kind of figure out what was going on in this crazy, weird fear dream that Wanda set him in. And he ends up going to this cave. No explanation. He ends up going in the water. No explanation. Takes off his shirt. I don't know why. That's necessary. And he gets all wet and he's like, whoosh. And it's like some sort of L'Oreal commercial. And then he suddenly realises what he has to do, and it's sort of like, okay, I don't know why, I don't know what is happening, but that tied into Vision's Infinity Stone, and Thor's like, there's 3 others that I've heard of, so it's referencing Guardians of the Galaxy, Thor, things like that. So that was all okay. I just didn't understand the need for the whole pool scene at all. It's probably in the comics, which is fine, but I haven't read every single Avengers comic or Thor comic, so I didn't really understand what was happening there. My main aggravation with the whole film was Pietro and Wanda and why they were there. Now don't get me wrong, I enjoyed their characters. I sobbed my eyes out when Pietro died, because sadness. And I loved their relationship with each other. I loved how they went from being total bad guys to stopping a train, saving civilians. They had great one-liners. But, and this is a big but, why couldn't they just have been mutants? I know Fox owns X-Men and all that business. So does that mean we can't mention mutants at all in the Avengers and Civil War and Infinity War and everything that's coming up? Because that's going to be really annoying. Plus it changed their whole backstory and said that their parents were killed when one of Tony Stark's missiles hit into their apartment building or whatever and killed them. And I was sitting thinking, Magneto got killed! But no, because in this little universe it's not Magneto. So let me know what you think about that. It didn't annoy me to the fact that it ruined the film, but it did kind of grate on us a little bit. Other than that, I loved the film. I thought it was brilliant. Character development was great. I liked at the end how Tony had gone away, Hulk had gone away, Hawkeye kind of went back to his family that we saw for ages for some reason, which I didn't enjoy. But yeah, there was a new team at the end, so it's like Cap and Black Widow and Vision, Wanda, and they were all like, yes, we're ready to save the world after we've made the next film. So that set a premise for all the other films that are to come, and I'm really excited for all the new ones. I enjoyed this film better than the first Avengers, which is saying a lot because I love the first Avengers. It may actually be my new favourite film, who knows? I'm going to go and see it in the IMAX just to see how pretty it looks, because I'm sure it'll be beautiful. Everyone acted amazingly. I didn't once think, oh, that doesn't feel real or anything like that. I just really, really enjoyed it, so I definitely recommend it. I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10. 1 point off for the Maximoff twins, and point off for Thor getting naked. That shouldn't be a point off, but you know. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Go and see the film, let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time. Bye!